Hello everybody, it's Paul Neese with Torah Life Ministries. I just got back from Colorado and I was a special guest teaching at a wonderful man's assembly, and I got some videos with him, and he's going to be a guest this week. Right now we're going to have him on a show talking about health and what the scriptures have to say about it. His name is Rabbi Ralph Messer, and I definitely recommend you check his stuff out. He's written many books, he has many videos. His website is Torah.tv, not TorahLife.tv, that's mine, but his is Torah.tv, and this is his newest book. It's called Torah, Grace or Law, and I highly recommend you get it. You can get it from his website. I'm almost done reading it, and it's one of the best books I've ever read, and that's saying a lot because I've read a lot of books. Well, he's going to be on a show today talking about health and the scriptures, because that's what we do here at Torah Life Ministries. If you have any comments or questions, post them below the video after you check it out, and definitely get to his website and check it out as well. So here's Rabbi Ralph Messer right now. All right, everybody, here we are with Ralph Messer. Ralph, why don't you introduce yourself to the Torah Life crowd, and we're going to talk to you today about health.
Shalom, welcome. It's actually the Sabbath today, and we're with a great friend of mine, Paul Nissan. I just want to thank you, Paul, for the opportunity of being with you. We're here in beautiful state of Denver, Colorado, in the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, and I just want to wish Paul and all of you a Shabbat Shalom, and it's been a great to be with you. A little bit about our ministry. We're based out of Denver, Colorado here, and we have several locations in the state, and we teach on the Torah, God's teaching and instruction, and of course we believe in biblical health, and that's why we support what Paul's doing. I've been teaching the Torah for about 32 years. Grew up in North Dakota, and we're in a farm and ranch in North Dakota, and I have got dual citizenship in Israel, and we've been here. We have a strong ministry. We have a yeshiva, a school for kids K through 12. We have an adult course called the International Center for Torah Studies, ICTS. And of course, you can visit our website at Torah.tv. That's Torah.tv. So we love Paul, and we're looking forward to talking with you.
Thank you very much. Now tell us, what does the Torah, since you're such a great student of the Torah, what does the Torah say about our diet?
Well, you know, basically dietary law is, of course, in the biblical understanding, is the key, one of the key premises, of course, and what they call four corners of the understanding of the Torah, the teaching and instruction of God. The first thing we have to understand of the 613 principles we find in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, they're the wisdom of God, and wisdom is what you need to go from one season of your life to another season of your life. And so the wisdom is found in these 613 principles. Obviously, the largest percentage of those principles have to do with dietary law. So the walking in a dietary law is the intro or introduction to wisdom. And again, wisdom with the introduction of any principle, a principle precedes anything financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually that will advance you in life. So it's real important to have that.
You know, we're called to be good stewards of our health.
Yes.
Why do you think so many people that are believers are suffering from the same disease as non-believers?
You know, mainly because the first thing is that believers in general, we look at everything through religion, and we don't look at it through the kingdom mindset. We are trying to escape earth and go to heaven, when all the principles have to do with heaven coming into earth. And so because of it, the reason we do not realize that we don't prosper through prayer, we prosper through obedience. See, obedience brings the blessing. And so many times when we ignore our health or nutrition, somehow we feel like we are still walking holy before God or set apart before God, when in reality we're walking in disobedience. And that obedience opens the door to wisdom and understanding and knowledge, and also opens the door for your children's children's children and your DNA to be blessed.
And what do you say to some believers that say we no longer have to keep the guidelines and instructions as related to food? They're done away with. What do you say to those people?
Well, you know, really, when we're looking at Paul, we're looking at the whole understanding of the Torah. We must understand, we're going into the book of Leviticus, our #1 selling book that we have in the history of Simchat Torah. When we look at the understanding of not doing it, no, not under the law, Jesus is the end of the law, you know, type of things, we're looking at it through a Greek lens. We have to look at it through a Hebrew lens. How did the Hebrews look at dietary law and food in general? Well, one of example of multiple examples, Paul, as you know, is that tribute offering. And that in other words, when you're not walking in forgiveness one towards another, the tribute offering was you were to offer a meal offering first, And number two, the second thing you are to do is offer a financial offering. And then thirdly, adapt to someone in authority over you. So what really we're saying is, many times the reason why we will not, when it comes to food, we have a freedom. We won't seek a rabbi out on dietary law because most of the rabbis don't know anything about dietary laws in general. And the reason why is because we are not really truly Talmudim or students of the biblical understanding of dietary laws. Dietary laws or food open the door up to understanding of everything around you. When you operate in biblically right times with food, then you'll be in God's timing in everything you do in life.
Why do you think so many people get confused about dietary scriptures in all of the Bible? Why do you think there's so much confusion about it?
I think the number one attack, Paul, in this whole thing is that we see that when people don't understand that what is the understanding of food, what was the premise of it, we know that if we eat unhealthy food, of course non-biblical food, we will now visit non-biblical people. And when we visit non-biblical people, we don't prosper financially, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. So we have a hard time tying what we actually put in our mouth to what actually, how we actually discern things or have been given discernment, and how God actually, the presence of God, the Ruach HaKodesh, the inspiration of the Spirit of God, bringing us before the Pani, the face of God, the Chukmah, the wisdom of God. Those types of things only come by walking and doing things in God's perfect timing with God's perfect food.
I know you personally eat healthy and you teach it, but why do you think many of the congregations out there neglect teaching about dietary aspects of the scriptures?
Well, it's not only is it, you can just see, Paul, it's an amazing and great question. Many times the reason why people don't want to address it is because it's the highest, most volatile matter you can address, because we take it so personally, and of course it's tied to our personality. It's interesting, everything in the biblical law, my background's Code of Jewish Law and Biblical Law, everything in Code of Jewish Law and Biblical Law that deals with produce or to be productive has to do with what you do with your diet. It's interesting, diet is the first entry place to all realms of life or all realms of death, the Yetzer Hara or the Yetzer HaTov. And so when we look at things correctly and we view things correctly about food, then we see things and we see through situations, and we actually not only get healed physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and all areas of our life. So it gives us discernment beyond what we see. So that the deception comes in of why people will not teach on it is because honestly they themselves know that they have to deal with emotional issues, issues of the heart, deeper root issues that most people will never touch. You see, wisdom is never given to you. Wisdom is held back from those non-discerning or those who do not want to pursue it, because wisdom is only given for those who will pursue it. So you've got to want to ask God, Lord, why is it that I won't ever look at my diet? Why won't I never look at the food I'm actually putting in my hands? Why is it that I won't ever address that area? I'll address every other area, but I won't address this area. And if you do, you'll get to the heart of your problems and the heart of the matter of the curses of the generations.
There are many scriptures in the Bible, all the way from Genesis all the way to Revelation, about diet and health. What's your favorite one?
Oh, definitively, I so enjoy the main, I guess, one that lays out in my heart is number one. It has to do with the healing of the generations. I've always say this to my congregation, my congregate members. God doesn't decide how long you live on the earth. You decide. If you go into the book of Devarim or Deuteronomy, it says, "I will bless those who walk in obedience, and I will curse those who don't." So God didn't put the measure of whether or not you're blessed or cursed with the longevity of life based upon someone else, or you waiting on Him to somehow say, "God, heal me." See, prayer is something the Jews did after and thanking the Lord for showing him the wisdom to walk in obedience. But what happens is when we ignore obedience, then we walk outside of obedience, and when we walk in the realms of death, and we bring death in personalities and people and relationships, and even who we choose to marry and who we're around. And those realms are critically important in our life. So you choose how long you're going to live in life, not God.
It's quite a shock when somebody learns about the dietary aspects of the Bible to change overnight. How did you personally deal with it when you learned? Did it take you a while to change, or are you still struggling with it? How did it work for you?
With my community, obviously, I believe that there's only two ways of learning in life: mentors or mistakes. Choose mentors. When you want to change a season in your life, you get a mentor, because a mentor is one who's absorbed all the pain that goes with a problem you're trying to solve, and now when you adapt to a mentor, you automatically eliminate the pain that would normally go with the problem or the crisis that you're trying to solve. See, a crisis is simply, in Hebrew, the root word, going back to the Paleo Hebrew of it, basically a crisis is the same root word in Hebrew as promotion. So what happens is the reason why we have crisis of health is because we're not really willing to adapt to someone of a mentor around us. Think of it for a second in the Bible when the Yeshua, Jesus, was healing a man. He came and he healed this man. And remember in the Bible, what's the first thing he dealt with him? He said, I want you now to go and I want you to tell no one what I've told you, number one. Number two, I want you to go to adapt to a priest. And number three, I want you to provide a meal or financial offering to someone beside yourself. So food has to do with a heart position, and God wants to position us always so that we have a greater increase, not only for us, but our children's children to the third and fourth generation. See, not to follow dietary laws is not transgression, where you not only willingly and knowingly not walk in the principles of God, but it's passing on iniquity to the third and fourth generation. In other words, the children of your bloodline, of your DNA, will actually walk in the same dietary laws of cancers or whatever, because it's recorded obviously in your DNA, that you do. And so there's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. There are 22 pairs of chromosomes in your body. There are 22 amino acids in your body. Psalms 22, Yeshua's and Calvary. So there's something tied to the DNA of our cell structure that when we put appropriate food and diet there, we hear the voice of God, the Batko, we walk stronger with God, and we are also helping our generations after us.
Have you seen personally many healings of people since they changed their diets and lifestyle?
No doubt. I'm dealing with a lady right now, dealing with a terminal case of cancer right now in her body right now. Sustained walking with cleansing. Isn't it interesting? When we want to cleanse her body, we use diet. We use actually food to cleanse our body. When we want to contaminate our body, likewise we use food to contaminate our body. So isn't it interesting that you can have lots of wisdom? I've been teaching the Torah for 32 years, but I could lose my life tomorrow just based upon a dietary law, and all the wisdom I've ever learned that I actually could pass on to other generations stops with me just not walking in what I could determine by simply walking in an appropriate order. See, order is the accurate arrangement of all things. The Torah is a book of order. Dietary food is everything is arranged exactly according to your temple before God. When we don't understand order, we are still in exile in our mind and exile in our mindset. And when you're in exile, you're outside of the blessings of God. So it's real important to walk in order, the accurate arrangement of things, know our God wants to walk out in order, and when we do, people of order are comforted by us and are drawn to us.
Great. Tell everybody out there that if there's somebody out there dealing with disease right now, the doctors aren't giving them any hope. In closing, give them a sign of encouragement from your knowledge of Scripture.
Well, I loved, obviously my favorite book is Leviticus. I'm a master teacher of it. For years I've taught on it. Leviticus 13, Leviticus 15 specifically deals with God said when you wake up in the morning that day, where you're cleansing yourself and changing the status with water or oil. Today if you're struggling with cancer in your body, let's say you're struggling just in general and saying, man, I've gotten this bad report. I just received a bad report. Well, the individual who's giving the bad report is only limited to help you based upon the wisdom he has with your Creator. If he's not hooked up with your Creator and you're his creation, then who's the authority here? Well, the authority is your Creator. And when your Creator says it's by the principles of God, there are 613 principles, and when you walk in the biblical principles of God, then the principalities and powers and rulers of darkness that have taken a position legally in your body are now taking an illegal position. So grab the principles of God, dietary laws. When you apply them, that principle, that bad report that's been against you, that is now bound or forbidden. And now we loose or permit the authority of God in the heavenlies to be able to release a blessing within you. You see, every day I want to remind the person who's ill right now, in the Aaronic blessing, Traditionally, we say, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his shalom. Do you know that in the Paleo Hebrew, the original Hebrew, God actually approaches his creation in that blessing in the book of Numbers, and he says to his creation, can I have permission to actually dwell here so that I can fulfill my goals that I have in the earth that day? So if God is approaching the Creator is approaching his creation to do that, today ask him to do that. Ask him, you know, God, I have cancer in my body, but surely if you'll put in your presence, your inspiration, the Mahakavod, the glory of God in me, then God, I know you'll drive out everything that's not light in me, the darkness that's within me. You know, one last thing I want to share with somebody, I want to share with you. The fear of the Lord is not your fear, it's God's. And the word fear of the Lord there in Hebrew actually means reverence or to revere God. God always ties the word reverence or to revere something, he ties it always to dietary laws. Isn't that amazing? The word reverence or to revere God is tied to what you put in your mouth. So be blessed and know that the words that come out of your mouth have as much power as the food that goes in. So be blessed and know that you are healed, for he is Elohim, the intensification of all power. He is Adonai, the force of God upon this earth, forcing his way into every cell of your body, every cell structure of your body, every bit of food that you touch, and everything that's in creation. You are his creation, and you're blessed under the covenant.
And give everybody your contact information on your website so they can get in touch with you. Sure,
Paul. First of all, I want to encourage you that I believe the daylight diet. I can't wait to consume and read this book further with Paul. But our website is at www.torah.tv. That's www.torah.tv. And we're on television, on various Daystar, TBN across the country. And I want to welcome you to come to Colorado sometime with us, and especially when Paul's here to see us. We love you. We'll have a blessed day and shalom.
Well, thank you.
Shalom,
There he was. That was Rabbi Ralph Messer. I definitely, the man is amazing. His book really has a lot of great information. He sums it up real nice. And you know, they say the fruit is in what you're doing. And he has one of the largest Messianic assemblies in probably in the world. And it's a great Torah.tv. Check that out. Great videos. I was very impressed when I went there, and I know you will be too. So check it out, and until then, everybody, thank you, and shalom, shalom.
Seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's way.